fundamental success key for any endeavor, whether business or nonprofit or educational, is that you have to deeply care about it, that it has to come from your heart. Wow, what a nice audience. Thanks for the invitation. This is, I think, my 5th talk I'm giving during this trip. And Johannes and I re-met during the war. And one of the questions that I've been asked since the war is, how do I feel about Armenia's future? And my answer could surprise you, which is I am more optimistic after the war than I was before the war. And everybody knows me as a very optimistic person. And throughout my talk, I'll tell you why I'm more optimistic. So all of the technical information regarding Case, I'll let other speakers talk about it. I was terrible when I was getting my MBA. I was actually horrible in the Case process, primarily because I have been diagnosed with having a condition called entrepreneuritis, which means there's no straight line that I follow. So whatever I share with you is my personal experience. I've started 5 companies. I knew nothing about the industries or the technologies of those companies when I started them. And I've had a few companies being bought. One company is going on now called IntelinAir, and there's future projects. I want to talk to you about 2 topics. Topic 1 is called the urgency of a lifetime commitment. So the urgency of a lifetime commitment. How many of you have started this business with your customers in mind that you really want to exceed their expectations? Just raise your hand. By the way, I know what this is, I know what this is, I don't know what this is. So I can't see all of you. So how many of you started a business to make money? How many of you started a business because you were pissed off that you didn't get the service that you were expecting? Okay. That urgency of a lifetime commitment, it really starts from that at the end of the day, if you don't really deeply care about something, you're going to lose the energy to pursue it, to pursue the goals that you want to achieve. So it all starts from deeply, deeply caring about what it is that you want to achieve. And if you don't deeply, deeply care about whatever it is that you're writing cases about, whatever it is that you're going out there and hopefully interviewing your customers about, you might as well give up now because you'll save yourself a lot of time. So don't look for things in your head that reside in your heart. So the fundamental success key for any endeavor, whether business or nonprofit or educational, is that you have to deeply care about it, that it has to come from your heart. When I started coming to Armenia, so I came to Armenia in 1996. I was born in Iran. I lived there for 13 years. Then I went to Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma. I went to high school in Oklahoma. I was kicked out of high school when I was junior, when I was in the 11th grade. And I often look back at that time when I was like 15 years old and being kicked out of high school as the foundational event that has allowed me to succeed in life, starting 5 companies, selling 3 of them, and then achieving whatever that I've achieved in my life. And why do I start from that? Because in our lives, all of us in our lives have events that happen that in the initial view, it looks like it's really terrible. And it might be really terrible. Some of us have been beaten up as kids. Some of us have been sexually abused. Some of us have been left without parents because of the war. Some of us, there's a whole list of things that you can list. But at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is you. So at some point in time, you're going to decide that you're going to give up all those excuses. Whatever the excuses are, I'm not tall enough, I'm not, short enough, I'm not fat enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not educated enough. And you're going to focus. You're going to focus on your mission, the thing that comes from your heart. So once you settle that thing that comes from your heart, which is deeply caring about something, the next step is this lifetime commitment. Now, when I say lifetime commitment, an unlimited commitment, it sounds like long, right? I mean, so most people think about business. By the way, I've started 5 companies. I've started 9 companies. 5 of them have succeeded. I don't mean that lifetime commitment to a thing. A lifetime commitment to yourself, that you're going to continually grow, that you're going to continually invest in yourself. And that commitment is so important because nobody gets imagine this, nobody says, I want to be an electrical engineer, and suddenly somebody shows up and gives you an electrical engineering degree, right? Well, maybe in some countries you can go buy a degree, like a piece of paper, but are you really an electrical engineer? No. You actually have to commit long hours studying, being tested, being given feedback, right? Before somebody will say, hey, that you're an electrical engineer, or you're whatever that you've chosen to be. The same thing is with business. It really is important that you commit for a long period of time to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. The third concept that I want to talk about is that once you commit to something, then over time you get better at it, right? Like it's sort of like if you start playing tennis, right? You don't immediately become good. You play, you lose, you play, you lose, you play, you lose, and then suddenly you start winning. And that's called competence. And unless you get to that level of competence where actually other people are recognizing that you're good, then you yourself won't achieve that confidence necessarily to kind of achieve the big goals that you're putting for yourself. And once you get competent, then you can start becoming creative. And that creativity is what the competitive advantage that some of you are seeking to achieve against your competitors, or creating a new product, creating a new business. It does take creativity, and where does creativity come? It still doesn't come from your head, it still comes from your heart. And the fundamental thing that I want you to know that post-creativity, you go back full circle. Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? And the final C, which I call the 5 C's of success that I've kind of coined for myself, is community. You're doing it for your customers. You're doing it for your families. Some of you say, by the way, it's absolutely okay to be wanting to make a lot of money. But nobody takes money with them to the next world. You want money for your projects. You want money for your, hopefully, in a way to serve your communities. Which brings me to the final concept that I want to talk to you about, which is everybody in this room has to awaken to the greatness within themselves. And if you don't wake up to the greatness within yourself and you constantly criticize yourself, then what's going to happen is as you're trying to achieve your goals, and as you have the inevitable failures towards your goal, you're going to give up. So you have to constantly have this self-talk to yourself that you will achieve your goals. Any failure is a temporary setback. And that when you're talking to your friends and when you're talking to your communities, that you ask for feedback so that you keep becoming, manifesting the, greatness in yourself. The last question that I want to ask is, what is the number one compliment that you can give an Armenian? Any ideas? Raise your hand. What is the number one compliment you can give to an Armenian person? Wow, nobody has an idea what's the number one? Come on, guess. Raise your hand and just shout it out. Where is the, who? What? Grit? Grit? No, that's not the one. Come on, be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Talented? What else? Close. What else? Hayren bar nincha. Huh? Khelak. Khelatsi, che? That's the number one compliment you can give to an Armenian, that you're smart. Right? So if smartness was a prerequisite for success, why the hell is the country in the shape that it is? Any idea? So if that's a static statement, right? That you showed up Khelatsi. And some people will say, you know, the Armenians have this like smart gene. That's why we're so good in chess, and that's why we're so good in math. And I go, and why the hell is the country in the shape that it is? You go to streets, you walk the streets, there's no straight line. You go to park I used to have a car here, I gave up. I said, I'm never gonna drive in this car, in this country again. Well, I will as soon as people start keeping their lanes and starting to use their blinkers. When you look at construction sites, right? Like I live on a street that, you know, it's called Veri Nantarain, and there's no trees. It's an interesting thing. It's either a sick joke or it's a nostalgic, right? And by the way, I had a professor that I used to just like corner him. I would tell him about Armenians accomplished this, Armenians were the first this, Armenians were the first that. And he said, you know, you sound like a potato, which is the best part of your life is in the ground. All of you, every single one of you, have an opportunity to change that narrative of mediocrity to excellence. But it starts with you. It starts with the way that you do your case studies. Now, again, I told you I failed at case studies, but I'm also willing to share that the fact that you get feedback, that you give and ask feedback, for feedback, is the path to getting to that excellence. So if you don't have a quest for excellence, if you really do not love your customers, if you really do not love your coworkers, and you're the Khelatsi, I submit to you that you're not that Khelatsi. Because the power of business is what? Service. So if I asked you, Hayren Harstam, եթե առաջ գալիս էի Հայաստանում, ինչ եք մտածում ծառա բառի առաջ։ So մեկն ասես ստրուկ։ Չէ՞, ամենաշատ պատասխանը, որ ստացել են Հայաստան, ասում ծառա ինչ, ասում միտք գնա ստրուկ։ Չէ՞, դա շատ ոչ ոք չի, nobody strives to be a slave, right? Serve. To serve, right? What is the highest thing that a human being can do for another human being? To serve. It's a noble thing. And as business people, most people think businessmen are out there to make money. Yes, money is one part of it. Because you have to be sustainable. If you're not sustainable, then you're not going to be able to serve your customers too long. So when you go back and you say, look, I want to create businesses that I want to be very successful, I go, then you need to serve a lot of people. And if you're not willing to put up with the complaints and the what is a complaint? It's a feedback. And the most honest one. And how often So I want to wrap up with the following, that at the end of the day, you can accomplish a lot if you don't have to take credit for it. You can accomplish a lot in your lives if you don't have to take credit for it. I didn't make a gargle about such. I can't translate. You're not doing something so that somebody pats you on the back. You are truly in service. Every business exists to serve its customers. And hopefully through serving its customers, serving society. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you got something out of this talk, but if you didn't, then just, I guess, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll try to give you more. Thank you.